Hey everybody, welcome to Unit 2 Proportions Review Day. We are going to be reviewing some things that you learned earlier in the school year. First off, let's talk about what is a ratio. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities, numbers. You can see it written like this as a ratio, or you can write a ratio like fractions. What is a proportion? A proportion is an equality of two ratios. Let's look at some examples of a proportion. Where do we see proportions? If you take a look at these images, there should be some look very familiar for what we did over this school year. And we're going to review some of them today. First, you see 2 over 5 equals 3 over x. Let's try another one. We use cross products to set up an equation to find the missing value x. We multiply 2 times x, 5 times 3, 2 times x, 3 times 5, 2 times x is 2x, 3 times 5 is 15. And now we're going to divide both sides by 2, which is your coefficient. The answer ends up being x equals 7.5. Don't forget those butterfly wings. You're using the cross products to solve for that variable. Here are steps to solve a proportion in a word problem. 1. Read the word problem to identify the word ratio. Write the word ratio. 2. Write the proportion. Double check. Are your units correctly set up? And 3, solve for the unknown using cross multiplication. Let's look at problem number 1. Jose can read 7 pages of his book in 5 minutes. At this rate, how long will it take him to read the entire 175-page book? So what we're going to do is we're just going to set up our ratio. We have, if you notice right over here, we have pages to minutes. So what we're going to do, again, pages to minutes. We're going to, as we read the word problem, Jose can read 7 pages of his book in 5 minutes. So I'm going to write 7 on the top and 5 minutes on the bottom. And at this rate, how long will it take him to read the entire 175-page book? I'm going to fill in my other box. Note the labels. Make sure we set up our units correctly and write our numbers to the matching units. We're talking about pages on both numerators of these ratios. We don't know how long it'll take them to read the 175-page book. We're going to cross multiply. Horrible writing. 7x. We're going to multiply, circle this, 5 times 175. And that ends up being 875. So 7x equals 875. We're going to divide both sides by 7. And x equals 125. So if I wanted to write my solution over here, it takes him 125 minutes to read the entire 175-page book. Okay, let's go to our next problem. Problem number 2. Chelsea is 6 miles away from the AMC movie theater in Tyson's Corner. On your map, the scale is 3 inches to 8 miles. How far is the movie theater on the map? So I see here's a hint. Here is a scale problem. Write it as appeared in the word problem, inches to miles. So I see my note, I see my word problem, inches to miles. I'm just going to write 3 inches to the 8 miles. And I notice my units on the top are inches. The units on the bottom are miles. So I notice I have 6 miles. So I'm going to identify that my unit on the bottom is miles. Plug in that 6. And I'm trying to find out how many inches it is on the map. So I'm just going to cross multiply this 3 times 6, which is 18. And we have that 8 times x. Okay, I just simplified. I cut a step. We're going to divide both sides by the coefficient, which is 8. Cross that sucker out. 18 divided by 8 is 2.25. And our solution is, how far is the movie theater on the map? It is 2.25 inches. What's super important, if anything, is just set up your word ratio and just make sure that when you're entering your numbers that they are on the same. Like for the top, you're referring to inches. The bottom, you're referring to miles. It could really be miles on the top with your numerator, and your bottom can be labeled as inches. Problem number 3. Melek is 6 feet tall and casts a shadow of 2 feet. If the Washington Monument casts a shadow that is 328 feet long, what is the height of the Washington Monument? So I have my units on the top, height, my units on the denominator, shadow. I'm talking about Melek on this side, and I'm focusing on the Washington Monument on the right. So I see in my word problem that Melek is 6 feet tall. So I'm going to plug that in, height. She's 6 feet tall, and she casts a shadow of 2 feet. Find that right there. The Washington Monument casts a shadow of 328 feet long. The shadow, so I'm going to plug that right on my box is really small, and I'm trying to find out the height. So now we're just going to do the same thing that we've been doing before. Cross multiply, circle it. 6 times 328 and 2x equals 2x. Forgive that horrible 30 right there. I'm going to fix that. Okay. So 6 times 328 is 1968. We have 2x. We want to isolate our variable, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. Cross this out. X equals 984, which your answer, the Washington Monument is 980 feet tall. All right, we're almost in the home stretch. Now we're going to focus on another skill we learned. We learned about tax, tip, and discount. So what is tax? Tax is an additional amount you pay for a purchase. Tax is always calculated as a percent. What is tip? Tip is an additional, additional amount you pay to a person for their service. Tip is always calculated as a percent. What is discount? Discount is the amount subtracted from the original price. Discount is always calculated as a percent. So calculating tax, tip, and discount, here's a proportion you can use to find the tax, tip, and discount. This should look familiar. Tax, tip, or discount on the top, original price on the bottom, percent over 100. To find the total cost or the sale price, first, find the tax, tip, or discount using proportions. All right? Plugging in your information from your word problem. And next, you're going to, for your tax problems, you're going to add your price to the tax amount that you calculated. For your tip problems, you're going to add, hint, hint, add the original price and the tip amount that you calculated using this lovely proportion. And sale price, you're just going to have the original price and minus the discounted amount that you obviously found out using this proportion. Let's take a look at a problem. Nicholas purchased the Nintendo Switch for $300. If the sales tax is 7%, what is the total cost he will pay? So I know 7%, I know percent is out of 100, so I know 7 over 100. I don't know the actual amount that we're paying for the tax, so we're going to put X on the top, but I do know the original price, which is 300. Okay, so we're just going to cross multiply, circle, circle, circle. Your cross, that's 100x equals, make your butterfly wing for the other side, 300 times 7. Okay, 100x equals 2100. And what we're going to do here is we're going to isolate our variable by dividing both sides by our coefficient, which in this case is 100. Boom. X equals 21. But we have something else we need to add. We need to add, when we see the word total cost, we're going to have to add the original price, which is a 300, plus that tax amount, which happens to be $21. So we're going to add it, but your amount ends up being total for adding those two is $321 to buy your Nintendo Switch, including your 7% tax. That is it for today. For your mini lesson, have a wonderful, wonderful practice. Use all your resources and message your teachers if you have any questions. Toodles, adios.